Hello.
Hi.
Oh.
I have like 2 bites left of my dinner. Yay, timing.
Yay. What are you eating? How is everybody else?
Good. Yeah. Until half an hour ago, I'd misread the thing and thought I was Miss Piggy. I'm not. I'm a human.
That would have been awesome, though.
Yay! Which human are you?
I thought it was Miss Piggy playing someone. Turns out I'm the main human.
So you Nick, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I found out today that my character sings, and I'm a terrible singer.
Excellent. No, I'm really looking forward to hear it.
It's gonna be bad.
Which character is it?
It's Tom Buchanan.
Hey!
Yeah.
Hey, lover.
Plus, one of the songs is like
I didn't realize Tom was
of...
also singing. I knew Nick was.
Sorry?
I didn't realize Tom was also singing. I knew that Nick was.
Yeah, he is. And he's singing 2 songs, and one of them is a different version of It's Not Easy Being Green, but like with slightly different words. And I don't know the Muppets well enough to actually be able to sing it in that kind of style. I tried today. We'll see how it goes.
Can I make a suggestion for the recording? Do you think we could find like pictures, like background pictures of the characters and have them up next to us?
Oh.
So we know who's playing who. Just because I know that my my accent's probably not going to be amazing.
Let's see.
My Zoom doesn't let me put a virtual background on.
Yeah, mine doesn't either. I don't have like the right version of the software or hardware. I don't know. Something. Oh, wow.
Nice costume.
Yeah.
Wow. I was really hard to try and work out how to dress as Miss Piggy, so I've gone more for the Daisy than Miss Piggy. Like committing to full pink face paint the night before I go to bed is just a bit much. So
I think I'm gonna change into something more official. One moment. I'll be back.
right.
Oh, yeah.
How is everyone?
Yes. Good.
Excellent.
Just, apparently I'm the only person responding to that. I'm good. Yeah, just been reading over the script.
Nah, it's quite long, isn't it? I was a bit
It
like,
is.
blimey.
Yeah. I was saying I got really confused just because of how the roles were laid out. I thought I was Miss Piggy until half an hour ago.
Oh,
No, it's fine. I totally misread it. It was my fault. But I was like, okay, Miss Piggy is great. Nick Carrot. I've not read this book. And then I checked. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, no, that's not gonna work.
I need to abandon any attempts at a Miss Piggy voice.
Oh wow, yeah.
is anyone learning the story for the first time through this medium? Oh, amazing.
I
Oh, this-
nearly did. I listened to an audiobook and I watched the movie just today and yesterday.
Excellent. I might.
I've also only read like a chunk at the beginning, and then the parts that I need to read, some parts without context. So like some of it's still going to be a surprise.
Yeah, I've not read the script. I have got the script.
No, I haven't read through all of the script.
I'm going into this pretty blind, but I did pay my taxes today, so
Show off.
take it.
Ooh, well done for adulting.
To be fair, I've not submitted them, but I've paid them.
Oh,
I mean, that's not the important part, really.
No, it's the bit that the government care about. We've got an extra month as long as you pay them on time.
Okay.
An extra month to file.
Okay.
I saw a rumor about if you will be eligible for any more support though if you do things late. So make sure that might be a rumor mill.
Everything will be on time.
Oh, I'm so excited to say, with people's names, are they? So who are you playing, Ian?
I'm playing Nick Carraway.
Awesome.
I'm Tom.
Oh, I love it.
I am Toby Maguire.
Amazing. My voice, by the way, is not great. I just really like doing an impression of one line of Miss Piggy, and then I realized having volunteered, I was like, shit, it's not just the line from the Muppets Christmas Carol. It's something else.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm going to offend any Americans.
Me too.
I have a broad range of people to offend.
Excellent.
So I think if we just be completely all right, we're going to offend everybody. It'll be
Yes,
Wait,
that's how I roll.
we're not doing impressions of like, nationalities so much as individual people. And that's fine.
No, of the
Some of them aren't
Muppets.
even people.
We're making impressions of the Muppets.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's okay.
We're doing impressions of people doing impressions.
Yeah. I'm finding, because I've been listening to videos of Miss Piggy for the last 5 minutes and listening to you all speak, I've completely lost my memory of what
Yeah.
is Miss Piggy.
Yeah, I'm tempted to mute and then just quickly listen to each of my characters before I come in.
In fact, when we have the penultimate person joining, I might go and do that. Who else are we waiting for? Quite a lot of us, isn't it? Get it to do work.
I invited a bunch of people I know locally, so we have a little bit more of an audience than usual, I think.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
No pressure.
Sorry.
Especially, I mean,
I already apologized for the singing. It's gonna be terrible.
Andrea is the narrator. She has the biggest part, so yeah.
Wow, there is a lot of people. Oh dear. I have to sing.
I did not promise a performance. Don't worry about it. They know it's just a bunch of friends getting together reading something funny.
Bracken, what was the comment? Nope. Okay. Sweet. Yeah, I feel that my role is to be very hated by the end of this evening. It's really high-pitched voice as well for the whole thing. I'm quite worried about screwing up the voice.
I'm considering having different voices for Nick and Nick's inner monologue.
Oh yes.
I don't know if I have two American accents in me, but we can certainly try.
In my head, when I was reading it, I heard the difference between, in the Wonder Years, where you've got a complete, or How I Met Your Mother, where there's for some reason this completely different voice doing the voiceover, this artificially older version.
Okay, we want artificially older and then normal. Okay, I can. Give me a sec.
Yeah, I'm also practicing while on mute.
I've got it. We're okay. We're going for the voice that once a very long time ago was a bad Columbo impression. It's morphed massively since then.
Yeah, I'm going to go on mute and practice my voice again because...
My main problem is, with three voices, they just start to bleed into each other. I also spent way too long looking at how to do Muppet voices, only to realize that actually all my Muppets are quite neutral, and I've just over-nasalized them for no reason.
I like it that everyone's taking it so seriously.
We have Jenny. Although she's at work.
Yay!
Yay.
Right.
But you're
How
mute.
did you manage, Jenny?
Jenny, you're on mute still.
She's on the patient internet
I'm-
Wi-Fi.
I'm on. I was a patient at this hospital, and I still have the patient Wi-Fi.
Ah,
I still have credits that I can use.
Wow.
So, and also I'm like
Nice.
on 24-hour call shifts, so I'm not like supposed to be working nonstop. I
perfect.
can I might get called away, but
Sure.
So, Andrada, you have the oversight. Who are we missing? Are we missing anyone?
okay.
We are missing Andrew. I just messaged him and he's gonna
That's
join
fine.
us.
Ah, okay, perfect.
You got
Lyric's
the time
joining
wrong.
us later, but that's fine because their role starts later in the play. We sorted it earlier, so that's all good. Yeah, thank you, readers, for putting your character names next to your own names. It makes life a bit easier for recognizing each other.
I have a question. Are you a theater group or just a bunch of friends, or I don't know. I just came here on invitation from Andy, I think. Yeah.
So we're not a theater group.
But you look professional like a theater group.
People may have
Thank you.
theater experience though.
A few of them, yeah. But
Until we talk. So
we have Muppet experience. We have Muppet experience.
One of our
This is
friends
far more
started,
important than theater experience.
one of our friends started
Yeah,
reading
some of us.
some chapters of a book every night on Zoom at the start of the pandemic, and this is the weird community that has formed around that.
Oh, cool.
And on the weekends, there's weird off things, and tonight it's The Great Gatsby.
Ooh, nice.
In
Yeah.
the Muppets version.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Muppet
that's-
version of The Great Gatsby. Was that not clear?
Yes, it was clear, but I'm
Is
a little
there
bit
any other
excited to
version
hear
that's
about that
worth
because I
reading?
can't imagine it right now, but I will imagine it soon.
Is it okay for everyone if I share the link for the script in the chat? Because I'm thinking maybe some of the people who are non-native English speakers who are doing
course.
accents might struggle with the words.
I was just trying to find it for myself, so thank you.
From Merle to everyone. Loving it.
Oh, Lyric, you made it.
Oh, is that Emily?
It is, but I've changed my name to Lyric.
Ah,
How's it going?
good. And yourself?
Pretty good. Had closest embrace earlier, so I'm like happy tired, if that makes sense.
I had some dancing too today, which was very
Oh.
nice.
It's not dancing, Andreas.
Yeah, it's
Cool.
the peer support group that I'm running.
Oh, sorry. I was
That's
like,
I wish I'd done some close embrace earlier. Oh my god, that would have been so nice. That would give me a lot more feelings. I would cry instantly right now, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, whoever's the first person to dance with me post all this probably should bring a second shirt for all the tears.
Oh.
I just have to think Fight Club right now. You know the scene when Meatloaf with his big boobs, and there's in that group where the main character like just lets off all their feelings.
Yeah.
Totally gonna be like that.
Yay, we have an Andrew. All right.
Hey,
that
sorry I'm
means-
late. I somehow got the time zones wrong, so I was just off by one.
Oh, we're glad to
Welcome,
have you
Andrew.
now.
I think you're fine. We all like each other's company.
So good to have you, Andrew. We haven't talked in ages.
Yeah, it's fun to be able to join. I'm glad that this is existing.
Glad you found us.
Andrada, are we all here and ready?
I was looking. Do we have? I don't think Ali is here.
Wait, who's Ali playing? I just looked at no one else's casting, so I'm just trying to get a gauge of who I'm supposed to be responding to in conversation. So
Ali's doing all the random voices, but she
I
also
can
said
fill
she
in.
wasn't sure if
Fozzie
she was
isn't
going
a
to make
huge
it and
part.
didn't confirm anymore.
Is this Ellie Lamb?
Oh, Ali.
Ellie Lamb, I'm in the same house.
No,
it's an
no.
American.
New person to Storytime.
Cool.
Yeah,
Does that
I can fill in for some random. So Fozzie isn't a huge part, is it? Like I can help out with voices. Whoever else is up for it.
Waka,
Or
waka,
any of the
waka!
audience members. Surprise! Right. All right.
So yeah, I'm still not sure if she's actually gonna make it, but if we have Lyric, if you want to
Say that again, Androna.
Yes, you just might need to tell me which ones count as randoms because I'm gonna forget who all was actually cast. But I'll figure it out if there's an awkward silence.
I think Sam Eagle is not cast. It's like right at the start. And
Rolf?
it's like all one-liners. Muppet businessman. High society mouse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just as a public information thing for the listeners who do not have a copy of the script open. The script, including the title page, is 105 pages long. Good luck to you all. No offense
We'll
will
see
be
how
taken.
We'll see how far we go on.
Yeah.
This may be part one.
Yeah, I assume it's not
Yeah.
like we're not going to finish this today.
But that's okay.
Yes.
Is there an intermission at some point? I haven't gone that far. into the
Whatever we
script.
want it to be.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think we can arrange one.
Okay. Shall we start?
Yeah.
All right.
This.
Narrator, take it away.
Cool. All right. Welcome to Muppets Present The Great Gatsby, written by Ben Crew, based on The Muppets, created by Jim Henson, based on The Great Gatsby, written by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I'm not sure if the first thing is the narrator, but I'll just read it because it says, it says Nick
Carraway flashback voiceover.
Right.
In my younger and more vulnerable years, my father gave me some advice that I've been turning over in my mind ever since. Whenever you feel like criticizing anyone, he told me, just remember that all the people in this world haven't had the advantages that you've had.
Manhattan Island morning. We see Manhattan Island in a stunning early morning glow. Golden sunlight beams off giant 20-story skyscrapers. Sam Eagle flies by in a propeller plane, a 48-star American flag waving from the aircraft's rear.
There it is, Mr. Carraway. New York, a city made for capitalism and therefore America.
In his backseat is Nick Carraway, 29, an easygoing man still carrying the optimism of a boy in his smile.
Well, let's get a closer look.
Sam pulls down, and we now see Rizzo the rat, known here as Fitz, and Gonzo, known here as Gerald, gripping to the wings.
Fitz, Gerald, you okay up there?
Gonzo and Rizzo hesitantly nod their heads, but soon scream as Sam plummets the plane down towards the city streets. Muppets of all shapes and sizes dance about as Wall Street men and flapper girls step joyously through the street. The song they sing is called New Money, Old Money.
Wait, does this mean I get to set the tune?
I guess.
Yes.
Go for it.
Ooh. Nah, okay. I moved into the city, all money I had. They call me old money. I live in the city, got rich off of a bet. They call me new money. No matter how we got or crash, it's ours now. We're gonna let it flash.
The chorus members all hold up dollar bills and fling them into the air, dancing about as wildly as cash rains down on men and women, counting their own money as they pass. A Muppet businessman, or an international expensive things store. A Muppet businessman bursts into the expensive things store.
I'll take all of your wares.
A high society mouse enters through a smaller door.
I'll have the most expensive dress.
Times Square. Bobo the bear sits in a fancy new automobile that leans under his massive weight.
Does this come in a size that fits bears?
The right tire blows out under his weight, shooting the auto salesman back into a pile of singing briefcases that hum like a barbershop quartet. A monocle Muppet, leaking coins out his pockets, runs into the center of Times Square. He huffs and puffs and heaves.
Help! Help! I'm in distress!
The music stops and everyone looks at the monocle Muppet. He holds up nearly 20 shopping bags.
I bought too much to carry. Can I pay someone to help me?
The music kicks in again and several shoeshine boys rush forward to help with the bags.
The new money looks up to me, but old money is my friend. The old money looks down on me, but new money keeps me free. One thing's for sure, these good times are never gonna end.
Right. Sam's plane pulls down and lands in the middle of Times Square. Nick steps out with the windblown Gonzo and Rizzo trailing behind him. He looks around the city with an unmatched wonder, acting as if the sight of each skyscraper and expensive automobile were the first he had ever seen. Nick begins narrating.
New York City had all the iridescence of the beginning of the world. This was the greatest nation, and there were gals in the air for the summer of 1922.
Rizzo and Gonzo look in confusion at Nick.
The Great War was over, and America's victory party only grew year after year.
Unlike Nick, Rizzo speaks out loud.
Gerald? Gerald, what's he doing?
My friends Fitz and Gerald had come east with me to see if America had hit a peak.
I think he's in there monologuing.
Was there satisfaction in the constant flicker of men and women and machines that was given to the restless eye, or would I be haunted by the wasting of the city's most poignant moments?
Nick knows he can't just talk to us, right?
I don't think he wants to. It's part of his character.
Nick jumps up, grabbing onto a streetlight and spinning around as he sings to the citizens of Manhattan.
New, old, east, west, I just want you to know me best. My name's Nick Carraway.
His name's Nick Carraway.
The city's gonna carry me away. In her streets, in her skies, I've kept receipts 'cause I won the prize. The city's gonna know my name.
Nick Carraway.
Carraway, welcome to fame. Nick Carraway, now there's a name. Old money, new. We just wanna know you. We wanna know you.
The dancers hit a triumphant end pose and suddenly carry on with their business, as if the choreographed number had never happened. Some even bump into Nick and respond rudely.
Watch it, bozo! Don't you know who I am?
Nick smiles at the city as he walks back over to Sam and begins another inner monologue.
It was the city scene for the first
Ich kenne das halt gar nicht, das ist ein bisschen schade.
wild promise of all the mystery and beauty in the wild.
Sam observes Nick's pensive face as he continues to inner monologue.
Nick?
Nick stares off in the distance.
My home would not be in this marvelous city. The boys and I had secured a cottage out on Long Island where...
Nick!
Nick snaps out of his trance and looks to Rizzo and Gonzo.
Nick, he can't hear your thoughts. You have to speak out loud.
Nick turns to Sam as if Gonzo hadn't said anything.
Take us to Long Island, please.
Sam looks dumbfounded.
Why did you have me land here? Or land in Manhattan if you were just headed to Long Island?
To be fair, we did have to symbolically depict New York City's greed and excess somehow. A song and dance number seemed reasonable.
Yeah, New York is on the poster. The movie's got to open in the city.
Well, the Muppets take Manhattan, and...
Nick, Rizzo, and Gonzo stare silently. Sam sighs and opens the plane's door.
Next stop, Long Island.
Over Queens Day, Sam's plane flies over the Valley of the Ashes in Queens, a loathsome industrial site devoid of any color, but lifeless gray. Glaring up at them are the eyes of Doctors TJ and Eckelberg, a worn billboard featuring the bespectacled eyes of the two elderly Muppets, Statler and Waldorf.
Where shall I be landing?
West Egg, please. Right across from East Egg. You see, West is for new money and East is for old money.
Ah, symbolism.
He plummets the plane down again, drawing more screams from Gonzo and Rizzo as they grip desperately to the wings. The ominous laughter of Statler and Waldorf echoes on the wind. Nick's cottage day. The trio wave as Sam's plane takes off into the sky again, leaving them with their luggage outside Nick's new home.
Welcome home, gents.
Gonzo and Rizzo turn to see a giant mansion looming in the distance. The size and grandeur of the structure leaves them in awe. Marble fountains, Greek statues that turn and wave, gardens of singing flowers calling out to them.
This is your home?
Rizzo and Gonzo scream in joy and run forward.
I call top bunk!
I think there's gonna be more than one bedroom.
Boys, this isn't our house.
Both hesitantly turn.
This one is ours.
Nick motions to a humble cottage nestled beside the massive mansion estate. Gonzo and Rizzo sigh.
Oh, that's nice too, I guess.
I still call top bunk.
Nick walks over to his mailbox and sees a much larger mailbox beside it, adorned with a green G.
That large mansion belongs to a fella named...
He reaches inside and pulls out a letter addressed to Mr. Gatsby the Frog. The letter reads, "Dear Mr. Gatsby, we regret to inform you that the rights to your namesake novel, The Great Gatsby, have fallen into the public domain, meaning that anyone can now adapt this American literary classic."
Gatsby. Mr. Gatsby the Frog.
Nick glances up with interest at the massive mansion.
I wonder what kind of man Mr. Gatsby is.
Technically, he's a frog.
Nick's eyes zero in on the massive windows of Gatsby's home. A lone curtain is drawn open. Could someone be watching?
All this money, all this property. Are you in there alone right now? Do you have anyone to share it with?
His inner monologuing again.
Just unpack. We'll snap him out of it if he's still going by dinner.
Beep, beep. The two look over and see Nick entering a taxi.
Nick, where are you going?
Nick holds the door open for them.
This talk of excess and meaningless wealth got me thinking. We should pay a visit to my cousin Daisy. She's across the bay in West Egg. Old money. You know the type.
Symbolism.
The two stand for a moment, staring at the open taxi door.
They'll have food.
Gonzo and Rizzo rush forward.
Well, why didn't you say so?
I like this cousin of yours.
They jump in and the cab takes off. Okay. Buchanan Mansion, afternoon. We push in on an aerial view of a plantation-style home on the bay's edge. A green lighthouse shines dimly before it.
Daisy was my second cousin once removed, and I'd known her husband Tom in college. Tom was a college football star, one of those men who reached such an acute, limited excellence at 21 that everything afterwards savors of anticlimax.
Rizzo's voice breaks in.
Is Nick inner monologuing or speaking right now? I can't tell.
But this is just an establishing shot. Don't overthink it.
A man appears to be playing a physical game with a few tall figures in the front lawn.
His family were enormously wealthy. Even in college, his freedom with money was a matter for reproach.
On the lawn, we see Tom Buchanan, 30, a hulking brute of a man with a thick mustache that looks as if it were made of straw, tackling a pony muppet dressed in leather football gear. Tom takes the football and barrels past two other ponies as he crosses the end zone. Tom kisses the ball and kicks it into the sky.
I am still the best! Woohoo!
Nick and the others exit the cab as the ball suddenly hurtles down on a crash course with Gonzo. Gonzo screams and runs about in zigzags. Ball POV. We see from the ball's falling POV as it tracks Gonzo, following his path exactly as he madly runs about. Rizzo laughs until the ball suddenly takes a sharp turn and slams into him.
Well, if it isn't Nate Corningware.
Nick walks to Tom out on the yard.
Oh, Tom, these are my friends, Fitz and Gerald.
He points back behind him. Gonzo waves while Rizzo's tail sticks up from inside a smoldering crater. Nick steps forward, shaking Tom's muddy hand.
Neil, did you see me make that touchdown? I think I may be even better than I was in college.
Richer too, I imagine.
You must not be doing bad yourself to make it to Long Island, even if you are living on the west side.
Rizzo crawls out of the crater.
I still don't understand the East versus West symbolism.
We don't have time to explain it, and even if we do, you'll say, but did the author really mean that?
So, I suppose you'll be wanting to see our dear little Daisy.
Buchanan's sitting room, afternoon. An elegant circular room emitting a heavenly white glow. Silk drapes flow in a gentle wind as a pink, felt hand wearing a diamond ring runs a finger over the white sofa top. The door to the sitting room opens.
Tommy, is that you, my darling?
Tom brings the boys into the sitting room as Miss Piggy, known here as Miss Daisy, rises over the sofa's back.
Looking for moi?
It was a kind of voice that the ear follows up and down as if each speech is an arrangement of notes that will never be played again.
Miss Daisy whips her hair about in slow motion, fluttering her eyelashes at the camera.
Her face was sad and lovely, with bright things in it, bright eyes and a bright, passionate mouth. But there was an excitement in her voice that men who had cared for her found difficult to forget.
The curtains flow over Daisy, obscuring her view in the camera.
Tommy, the curtains! Tom, this wind is too strong!
The wind blows so hard that papers and objects fly about the room as the curtains stick to Miss Daisy's body. She begins to karate chop at the silk, trying to get it off her.
Oh, Nicky! Get it off! Get it off! Get it off!
There was a singing compulsion. A whispered, listen. A promise that she had done exciting things just a while since, and there were exciting things hovering in the next hour.
The wind breaks the curtains free from the wall, slamming the curtain rod into Daisy, who falls with a scream to the floor. The wind dies down, and she jumps up.
Oh, Nicky!
Miss Daisy resumes her regal pose on the sofa, and Nick walks over to kiss her hand.
Do they miss me in Chicago, Nicky?
The city is desolate without you.
Oh, I'm paralyzed with happiness.
Miss Daisy freezes in place. Tom glances up with an eye roll as he prepares the group glasses of juice. Everyone stares at the frozen Miss Daisy.
Is she inner monologuing too?
No, I think she's just like that.
Nick glances over the sofa and sees Jordan Baker, 21, a tan and slender woman with intense eyes, seated across from Miss Daisy. Jordan has Camilla the chicken sitting in her lap.
Who's this?
Camilla lets out a snooty bark as Jordan hides a thin smile behind a handful of playing cards. Miss Daisy breaks out of her paralysis.
Oh, that is famous Jordan Baker, a very famous golfer.
Pleased to meet you.
Jordan says nothing, swirling a drink that Tom hands her.
Nicky, you two would make a very cute couple. In fact, I insist on it. I'll be locking you in closets and pushing you out to sea all summer.
Jordan sets down Camilla, who wears her own chicken feathers in a flapper headband, beside the immediately swooning Gonzo and saunters over to the window. She can see Gatsby's mansion across the bay.
Tell me, Mr. Caraway. Daisy says you live on the West Egg. What's life like on the other side?
$80 a month rent for my little place, if you can believe that. If you mean the social circle. We haven't been there, so I don't know anyone.
Jordan's eyes gleam.
Well, you must know Gatsby.
Miss Daisy turns with a fright and screams.
Gatsby?
Tom pours so much liquid it flows over the glass. Daisy huffs until she calms down and puffs up her hair, while looking the other way as if she never cared.
What Gatsby?
Tom stomps over and wraps a commanding hand over Nick's shoulder before he can reply.
Ladies, I think it's dinner time.
Dining room, night. The guests sit at the Buchanan dinner table, oddly spaced apart, with Miss Daisy and Tom on opposite ends. The Swedish chef suddenly bursts in, carrying a tray of chowder bowls.
Hi, smorgy borgy, super hoopa.
He slaps down bowls across the table.
And what shall today's entree be?
The Swedish chef strokes his mustache and suddenly reaches for Camilla, forcefully grabbing the chicken by her neck. Camilla barks bloody murder until Jordan steals her back.
No! Perhaps fish tonight?
The Swedish chef sighs and trudges back into the kitchen, immediately returning with a fishing pole and walking outside.
He is from Sweden.
I noticed.
Singing candles placed about the table serenade the dinner guests with peaceful humming. The ambience is broken by a shrill phone ringing that neither Miss Daisy nor Tom appear to acknowledge. Tom begins loudly slurping his soup, as if that'll drown out the noise. Nick runs a spoon through his soup, but does not eat. He looks at Gatsby's house across the bay. It appears a party is going on. Nick opens his mouth to speak, but Gonzo breaks in.
I was,
What a beautiful home, Mr. and Mrs. Buchanan. And might I say, your daughter is as stunning as you are.
An awkward silence. Miss Daisy's face scrunches.
Daughter? What daughter?
In the doorway, a baby Miss Piggy stands pouting and turns to storm off.
Sweetie, would I?
Miss Daisy stands up and looks to Tom.
What's her baby's name?
Tom shrugs.
All I know is it isn't a boy.
Ugh.
Miss Daisy groans and storms off, just like her daughter. Another long pause. Nick surveys the room before trying again.
so who is Gat?
The shrill phone rings again, and Tom slams a fist into the table, generating a momentary yelp from the singing candles. Each ring drives Tom into further anger. Suddenly, the ringing stops, and Tom sighs in relief.
Finally.
Hello? Sure. Tom, it's for you.
Rizzo stands by the telephone, holding up the receiver. Tom stomps over and yanks it from Rizzo's paws.
I told you never to call me here.
A sultry woman's voice replies on the other end.
But Tom, I love you.
Nick and Jordan glance awkwardly at each other as Gonzo stress eats bread.
Honey! Guess what? Our daughter does have a name. It's...
She re-enters the room and sees Tom on the phone.
Who are you on the phone with?
Tom sweats.
Quick, sound like the bear.
The sultry voice suddenly coughs and attempts the lamest impression of Fuzzy Bear one can imagine.
Waka waka. But Tommy Bear, I love you.
Dead silence as Miss Daisy taps her high heel.
I'll call you back, George Bear Wilson. I'm gonna bring my car into the shop tomorrow. That good?
Waka waka.
Tom slams down the receiver and looks back at Miss Daisy.
Tom Buchanan! Outside right now!
Tom reluctantly follows the order and walks out.
Nick, come with me tomorrow.
To take your car into the shop.
What, you got other plans with the West Egg socialites you don't know?
Miss Daisy pushes Tom outside. Their silhouettes reflect in the moonlight against the window curtains, and we can see Miss Daisy immediately start throwing karate kicks at Tom.
You bird! You hulking bird!
Don't call me that, you dainty!
Furniture crunches and glass breaks.
What's all that about?
I thought everyone knew. You don't know anything, do you, Mr. Garraway?
Nick raises his eyebrows at Jordan.
That bear on the phone wasn't a bear at all. It was another woman.
No.
No.
Does Daisy know?
There's a resounding hee-yaw, followed by brick crumbling outside.
He knows enough. Is that the end of your inquiries, Mr. Carraway?
The man you mentioned, Gatsby. He's my neighbor.
Jordan leans forward, her cold eyes truly locked on Nick for the first time of the night.
Oh, now this is interesting.
Who is he?
Gonzo leans over to Camilla as Jordan begins to speak.
Watch. We're gonna get interrupted before she can answer.
Tom and Miss Daisy re-enter. He is covered in broken glass and dirt scruffs, and she is huffing and puffing. Miss Daisy turns to Nick with a joyous mood to her voice, as if the phone call, karate fight, had never happened.
I love to see you at my table, Nikki. You remind me of a rose, an absolute rose.
I am not even faintly like a rose. She was only extemporizing, but a stirring warmth flowed from her, as if her heart was trying to come out to you, concealed in one of those breathless, thrilling words.
Tom and Miss Daisy stare at Nick, awaiting a response while he narrates in his head. Gonzo leans over.
Oh, he says thanks.
Boys, it is getting late and I think you should go. Nick, will I be seeing you tomorrow?
Yeah, sure, Tom.
Nick stands up with Gonzo and Rizzo, and 3 penguin butlers approach to hand them their hats.
Nicky, I'll walk with my favorite cousin to the cab, so long as Miss Baker doesn't feel like I'm stealing you away.
By all means. Have a nice night, Mr. Caraway. And say hello to Mr. Gatsby for me.
Miss Daisy cringes at this as she leads them outside. Let's see. Buchanan Mansion. They pass butlers cleaning broken glass and busted furniture. The Swedish chef fishes in the distance, an obvious shark fin circling his line. It pulls him in, dragging the man out to sea with an incomprehensible Swedish scream.
Nicky,
Yeah, Daisy?
I call you my favorite cousin, but I don't really know you. You didn't even come to my wedding.
I was in the war when you married.
Ha! A world war! Can't use that one twice. Today was a bad time, wasn't it? I suppose I'm very cynical. Do you know what I said when my baby girl was born?
Nick picks a garden flower and plucks at the petals. Gonzo and Rizzo instinctively do the same.
The nurse told me it was a girl, and I wept. I wept and I said, I hope she's a fool, because that's the best thing a girl can just be. A beautiful little fool.
Nick hangs his head.
The instant her voice broke off, ceasing to compel my attention, I felt the basic insincerity of what she had said. It made me uneasy, as though the whole evening had been a trick of some sort to exact a contributory emotion from me.
Miss Daisy scrunches her face at Rizzo and Gonzo.
He doesn't talk much, does he?
Honestly, we don't know.
Waited, and sure enough, in a moment, she looked at me with an absolute smirk on her lovely face. She had asserted her membership in a rather distinguished secret society to which she and Tom belonged.
Miss Daisy smiles.
Well, mon amour, to be continued in our next issue.
Nick kisses her hand and re-enters the taxi cab with Rizzo and Gonzo. The door closes and they drive off into the night. And next scene, Nick's cottage at night. Nick and the boys exit the cab and walk back to the cottage.
Boy, that Tom sure was a jerk.
Forget him. Did you see that chicken? I felt some sparks flying between us. Didn't you, Nick? Nick.
But Nick has stopped, looking back at Gatsby's grounds.
Look.
He glares out at the neighboring mansion. Butlers clean the grounds as a party disperses. The lone figure of a frog stands framed on the estate's dock.
Something in his leisurely movements and the secure position of his feet suggested that it was Mr. Gatsby himself, come out to determine what share was his of our local heavens.
Gonzo steps forward and waves.
Hey, Nick.
Nick places a finger over his beak, hushing him.
That's him. That's Mr. That's him. That's Mr. Gatsby. Sorry, frog in my throat.
The 3 look in awe at the silhouette of this already legendary frog. He's looking out at something, the green light that shines across the bay and in front of the Buchanan home.
I didn't call to him, for he gave a sudden intimation that he was content to be alone. He stretched out his arms towards the dark water in a curious way, and as far as I was from him, I could have sworn he was trembling. Involuntarily, I glanced seaward and distinguished nothing except a single green light, minute and far away.
Nick gets lost in the allure of the green light. When he looks back, Gatsby is gone.
When I looked once more for Gatsby, he had vanished. and I was alone, again in this unquiet darkness.
Boy, I really wish you had subtitles, Nick.
Nick puts his arms around the boys and they all look out at the green light together. And scene. Next scene is in Valley of the Ashes by day. The eyes of Doctors TJ and Eckelberg stare out across the desolate Valley of the Ashes.
Above the grey land and the spasms of bleak dust with endlessly over it, you perceive, after a moment, the eyes of Doctors TJ and Eckelberg.
While the worn billboard art of the eyes does not move, we hear the distinct, mocking voices of Statler and Waldorf. We need
Look,
a Statler.
TJ, here comes another one.
Hey, Eckelberg, do you think he'll see us a symbolic manifestation of the eyes of God or of the viewers themselves?
I don't know. He can see anything judging by his taste in fashion. A straw hat with a velvet suit. He's blinder than a Hemingway bender.
Whoa!
Tom's automobile passes with Nick, Gonzo, and Rizzo as passengers. Nick glances back at the eyes, lost in thought.
Evidently, some wild wag occultist set them bad in their practice, and in the borough of Queens, and then sat down into eternal blindness, or forgot them and moved away. But their eyes, dimmed a little by many paintless days under sun and rain, brood over the solemn dumping ground.
Look ahead, Nick.
What's ahead to look at?
Well, the city, of course. We'll stop off for a little pickup first.
And scene. Next scene is George Bear Wilson's garage. Tom pulls into a garage home that reads, George Bear Wilson's Joke Garage, and dings a waiting bell.
Ding, George!
Fuzzy Bear, known here as George Bear Wilson, runs out.
Ah, Mr. Buchanan! Stopping in for some repairs?
Of course, I need my...
Tom searches the car for the first reply he can think of.
My horn! I need my horn fixed.
George walks over and honks Tom's external horn. It works just fine.
I see the problem.
George holds up a rubber chicken and whoopee cushion.
Would you prefer rubber chicken or whoopee cushion, eh?
Whoopee!
Chicken.
Tom opens his car door and walks towards the Wilson garage.
You know best, George. I trust you.
George gets to work as Tom with a growing smile, knees the worn-down shack. A woman built like a brick house with caked-on makeup and wearing an excessive Friday night party dress, despite it being early morning, leans against the doorway.
Hello, Myrtle.
Myrtle Wilson, 36, smiles back.
Oh, hi there.
She leans into Tom now, sharing a hard and passionate kiss. Nick glances back at George, who is obliviously duct taping the rubber chicken to Tom's car in place of the horn. Myrtle continues her passionate embrace with Tom.
There was an immediately perceptible vitality about this woman, as if the nerves of her body were continually smoldering.
Tom walks Myrtle back to the car. Rizzo stares in confusion.
Wait, that's not Miss Daisy.
Fitz, why do we keep having these exposition scenes if you're not even going to try and keep up?
Tom opens the car door, and Myrtle, not looking, crushes Rizzo as she sits down. He cries out in muffled screams.
Well, that's one way to shut him up.
George tests the new rubber chicken horn and looks up, seeing Myrtle in the car.
Honey, what are you doing in Mr. Buchanan's car?
Oh, Tom here is heading into the city, and you know how I like to see my sister on Sundays. You're so busy with the shop that I don't want to be a bother.
George looks around at the desolate, empty wasteland before observing Tom for a moment. The bear leans his face into his whoopee cushion, releasing a prolonged poo. The billboard eyes of the doctors glare down on him.
You fool. She's in love with Tom.
Of course. Have you seen the bear? Oh!
Well, I see nothing suspicious about that. Have fun, my dear. Oh, and Tom, stop by sometime. I'll show you my stand-up routine.
Trust me, Wilson, I've got a joke funnier than anything you have.
Tom speeds off as he honks his new rubber chicken horn over more absurd laughter.
That bear is so dumb, he doesn't know he's alive.
Ritzel muffles out beneath Myrtle, gasping for air.
I'm still alive! Help!
George blows into his whoopee cushion as he watches them go. And scene. The next scene is set in a New York party apartment in the afternoon. A humble little party for socialites is in full swing. Well, humble for these socialites.
Now this is more like it, my dears.
A jazz record kicks in as Myrtle and Tom jump atop the apartment table and begin a synchronized tap dance. Nick sips from a glass as he observes the party apartment.
It was just for Tom and Myrtle, but he invited the others because even after all the things he had bought for Myrtle, Tom still had change to spare. What is money if not for spending?
Myrtle turns around and sways her hip. A compressed Rizzo falls off her rear end, and Gonzo hurries over.
Fitz, are you okay?
Put me back!
To a small group of 5 or so dancing Muppets, an oily woman just as sultry as Myrtle approaches.
Most prominent among them was Catherine, Myrtle's sister, who I can describe in no other way than wildly.
Catherine, 30, a pale girl with sticky red hair and pencil-drawn eyebrows, clinks glasses with Nick as she passes.
Painfully dull party, isn't it?
Penny duller, and I might have actually bought George.
Oh, Myrtle, why did you ever marry him? No one forced you.
Believe it or not, there was a time when I found him funny. Once.
No, I still find him hilarious.
Myrtle throws a drink in Tom's face as Catherine leans into Nick, flirting in a hot and breathy whisper.
Neither of them can stand the person they're married to.
Can they?
Oh, Nick, if you were any more a fool, you'd be a woman.
Myrtle refills her drink and again throws it in Tom's face.
I don't leave George because I don't know what he'd do with himself. 11 years he lived in that garage, and 11 years he says he's going to be a big comedian one day.
And I don't leave Daisy because I love money. We were the prettiest and richest beaux of Louisville. It was only natural that Daisy be mine, and our fortunes be mine as well. For me, Daisy Faye Buchanan is money.
Daisy, Daisy, Daisy. Is that all you ever talk about?
Tom bellows out another brutish laugh and walks over to the record player. He picks up the plate currently playing and smashes it against the wall before pulling out a new one.
You know I do more than talk.
A playful jazzy tune overtakes the room.
Another musical number already?
It's the entire movie's a musical.
It's not too late to stop this.
Tom pulls out a fat wallet that is near bursting with green bills. He begins singing It's Easy Spending Green, a song in the tune of the classic It's Not Easy Being Green.
It is easy spending green, having on me each day the color of the leaves.
Tom picks up the telephone and suddenly a parade of lobby penguins march in with various trays filled with colorful caviar, expensive jewels, and yipping Muppet puppies.
When I think it could be nice, I buy red or yellow or gold or something much more colorful like that.
Myrtle rushes over and grabs one of the puppies, nestling it in her arms as Tom shells out green to the penguins.
It is easy spending green. It seems and you bring in so many other extraordinary things.
Tom is shelling out cash on everything. One penguin waddles up to him with an everything menu that Tom promptly opens. Tom finger walks through it, passing such item listings as Spider-Man actor and Jay-Z song licensing. He lands on musical number backup dancers and shells out the cash. Almost instantly, flapper girls dressed as Lady Liberty kick through the doorway and interlock arms with Myrtle and Catherine as Tom sings on.
And people tend to notice you over, 'cause you're standing out like fleshy sparkles in the water or stars in the sky.
Nick sits down. He's beginning to nod off.
I can't tell if Nick is monologuing or just falling asleep.
Hey, I've got an idea.
Tom joins the dancing girls, pointing out to the fading Nick.
Green is the color of Lady Liberty. Green can buy coal, can buy friends. Green can buy something as big as a skyscraper, or important as a car, or copyright extension laws.
The dancers emit a Mickey Mouse laugh at this mention. Rizzo flips through the menus.
No. That does sound nice, but no. There you are. Oh, and 1 day shipping. I'll take that. Tom is buying.
Tom bellows out his final lyrics, but our focus is on the fading Nick as money, drinks, and clothes rain around him.
When green is all there is to have, it can make you wonder why. But why wonder? Why wonder?
Nick yawns and rests his head on a pile.
I've got green, it'll do fine. It's beautiful. And it's what I want to see.
Nick is fully asleep now. The distant laughter of Statler and Waldorf echo in his subconscious as we fade to black. In the darkness, we see the green light flashing.
Party! Party!
An attack of colorful fireworks suddenly overtakes the green light, and we fade into the next scene. Nick's cottage at night. Nick groans in bed as fireworks and cheers erupt from Gatsby's mansion outside.
What is this?
Gonzo, is that you?
Artillery! We're under attack!
Gonzo and Rizzo fall out of their bunk beds and pull World War I helmets and gear out from under the frame. There's a knock at the door, and Nick grabs his head as he gets up.
Don't worry, guys. It's just the door.
Oh, my package must be here.
Rizzo rushes past Nick as he shuffles to the door. He jumps up and pulls the door open, revealing a Gatsby butler holding an envelope on a silver tray.
An invitation from Mr. Gatsby.
Mr. Gatsby.
Nick accepts the letter and opens it.
Dear Mr. Caraway, I would be honored if you could attend my little party. Yours sincerely, J. Gatsby.
I'll inform the master you are on your way then.
The butler walks off.
What? Wait.
Nick, still in his pajamas, rushes outside and kicks a box by his door in the process.
Yes, my package came.
And scene. The next scene is in Nick's cottage. Rizzo rips the box apart as Nick catches up to the butler, who pours a glass and offers it to him.
hold up now. I just came from a party. I don't need another glass. I need an aspirin.
I assure you, Mr. Carraway, you've never been to a party like this one.
He disappears back beyond the hedges separating the Gatsby estate and Nick's cottage. Golden light glows beyond the leaves. Rizzo cheers triumphantly as he lifts his package.
What'd you get?
Rizzo holds up a book copy of The Great Gatsby.
Now we finally know what Nick is thinking.
They look up and see Nick is gone, the light of the party growing in intensity over the hedges.
Where'd he go?
Hold on, I can find out.
Rizzo flips ahead in the book.
Daisy's house.
They run off in the opposite direction and suddenly stop.
Fitz, we already did that scene.
Rizzo pulls the book back out and flips ahead 20 pages.
Gatsby's house.
They run off towards the hedge entrance and scene. The next scene is in Gatsby's mansion. Gonzo and Rizzo enter into an unbelievable scene, the kind of party that you only see or think possible in the movies. Nick looks in equal awe, standing a few feet in front of them. Hundreds of men and Muppets dance around a pool. Confetti rains from the sky, appearing to fall in tune with the music. Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem play a wild jazz tune from floating pedestals on the pool water. Nick enters into this manic peak of the roaring 20s.
Quick, what's he thinking?
Rizzo flips through several pages and reads aloud.
I was one of the few guests who had actually been invited. People were not invited. They went there. They got into automobiles which bore them out to Long Island, and somehow they ended up at Gatsby's door.
The narration goes to Nick now as he moves through the crowd. Animal has gone wild on the drums, and the crowd responds in tune. Long lines of automobiles pass through and drop off new guests of every shape and size, man and Muppet. This party isn't a small affair like Tom Buchanan's show of indulgence. Mr. Gatsby's little party has every, PG-appropriate, excess on display, and everyone is having the time of their life. The energy is infectious.
Once there, we were introduced by somebody who knew Gatsby, and after that, they conducted themselves according to the rules of behavior associated with amusement parks. Sometimes they came and went without having met Gatsby at all, came for the party with a simplicity of heart that was its own ticket of admission.
Rizzo looks up from the book and wipes a tear from his eye.
Who knew Nick had such a way with words?
What happens at the end?
Rizzo flips ahead.
So we beat on, boats against the current, bore back ceaselessly into something about a boat.
I hope we don't go with DiCaprio for Gatsby then.
Nick motions to the butler who gave him the invitation.
Excuse me, where is Mr. Gatsby?
Mr. Gatsby? I've never actually met the master of the house.
I had to find out who was behind this fabulous party, but it appears that none of his guests had ever even seen Mr. Gatsby.
Link Hockthrob jumps up in Nick's face.
Mr. Gatsby, I heard he was a German spy in the war, cousin to the Kaiser himself.
A gossip woman leans over Nick. We need a
I heard he killed a man and stole his millions.
A playful but sharp laugh breaks through the music.
I thought you might be here.
Nick looks up to see Jordan passing by. She wriggles a come closer finger and enters the massive Gatsby home. And scene. Next, we are in Gatsby's library. Jordan saunters into a massive library filled with busts of great men and hundreds of books lining its walls. If you look closely, you'll see these books are only numerous copies of A Christmas Carol, Treasure Island, and The Wizard of Oz. A lone frog stands by a fireplace at the room's end.
Jordan, wait.
Nick runs up to Jordan and catches his breath. A thin smile crosses her lips. Gonzo and Rizzo enter now and see Jordan with Nick.
What happens? What happens next?
Rizzo holds up the book and flips ahead.
Yo ho ho and a bottle of rum?
Jordan says that?
Rizzo flips the book around and looks over to the shelf.
Whoops, no, I grabbed Treasure Island by mistake.
Rizzo looks over and sees Scooter, wearing owlite glasses in a leather chair and reading The Great Gatsby.
I don't understand this East versus West thing.
Hey, give that back!
Having fun, Mr. Carraway? I like large parties. They're so intimate. At small parties, there isn't any privacy.
Jordan wraps an arm over him, running her nails through his hair.
At a small party, it might be easier for me to find the host.
Jordan's eyes light up at this.
You still haven't met Mr. Gatsby. The rumors you must be hearing. I bet you must think he's a 9-foot-tall hairy ogre.
Sweetums, the 9-foot-tall hairy ogre Muppet, crosses his arms and storms out with a huff. Jordan leans in and whispers into Nick's ear.
Another rumor?
No, absolute fact. And from Mr. Gatsby himself.
So you have met him?
She plants a sharp kiss on his cheek and quickly trots off.
Meet me tomorrow, after dinner. We'll talk more then.
Wait, Jordan, after dinner, where? You're being incredibly vague.
But Jordan is gone. Nick walks to the large library window and looks out at the party in full swing. He can see Jordan attempting to drag Camilla the chicken away as she swims atop a fountain blast.
There was dancing now in the garden, couples holding each other tortuously, fashionably, and keeping in the corners of a great number of single girls dancing individualistically or relieving the orchestra for a moment under the burden of the banjo.
The figure of the frog moves in slowly behind Nick.
Between the numbers, people were doing stunts all over the garden, while happy, vacuous bursts of laughter rose from the summer sky.
Scooter, Rizzo, and Gonzo all read the book now.
Wow, this guy has a way with words.
Scooter calls out to Nick.
Looking for a book, my friend? They're all real. Take your pick.
They're all real, but is Mr. Gatsby?
The frog's image becomes visible in the reflection of the window glass. His voice unmistakable.
Your face is familiar. Weren't you in the 3rd Division during the war?
Yeah, 9th Battalion.
I thought so. I was in the 7th Infantry until June 1918.
There's a long pause. Nick fidgets with his drink.
Can I get you a drink?
Oh no, thanks old sport. I never do drink at my own parties.
Nick is immediately taken aback.
You're...
Gatsby the frog, obviously Kermit, holds out a green hand.
Jay Gatsby, a pleasure to finally meet your neighbor.
I didn't realize. I'm Nick Carraway.
Nick enthusiastically shakes Gatsby's hand.
Sorry, page turn.
He smiled understandingly, much more than understandingly, and one of those rare smiles with a quality of eternal reassurance in it that you may come across 4 or 5 times in life.
Gatsby does Kermit's classic scrunch face.
It faced, or seemed to face, the whole external world for an instant, and then concentrated on you, with irresistible prejudice in your favor. It understood you just so far as you wanted to be understood, believed in you as you would like to believe in yourself, and assured you that had precisely the impression of you that, at your heart, you hoped to convey.
Rizzo lets out a swooning awe as he reads the book.
Wow, he must really love Jordan.
Fitz, Jordan already left. He's talking about Gatsby here.
Oh. Oh.
I thought you knew, old sport. I'm not a very good host, am I? Say, how about I make it up to you? We could take out the hydroplane, play some paintball, go out for a ride.
Gatsby looks at Gonzo and Rizzo glancing up from the book.
You're friends too, of course.
Before Nick can reply, the butler marches up to Gatsby.
Sir, a telephone call from Chicago.
Oh, my apologies, Nick. I must take this. Tomorrow, then.
Nick shyly nods as he watches Gatsby walk coolly away. A butler walks up to Gatsby with a telephone on a silver tray.
I would have accepted without question I would have accepted without question the information that Gatsby sprang from the swamps of Louisiana. That was comprehensible. But young men didn't drift coolly out of nowhere and buy a palace in Long Island.
Gatsby does Kermit's arms flailing in the air scream as he talks on the phone. Nick considers if he should stay, but upon seeing Gatsby busy, he moves to leave.
Oh, it says here Nick is leaving.
They look up and see Nick exiting the room, then hurry to their feet themselves, tugging the book away from Scooter.
Hey, I'm not done.
It rips in half. Gonzo and Rizzo gasp. And scene. The next scene is in Gatsby's mansion. The party has hit a slower tempo. Everyone moves in a daze as Dr. Teeth and the gang plays a soft tune. For them, that is. Nick looks oddly agitated by the sight of lovers and beautiful young people.
Girls were putting their heads on men's shoulders in a puppyish way, and girls were swooning backwards playfully into men's arms, knowing that someone would arrest their falls.
Nick looks back at the library window and sees Gatsby pacing as he bangs up the phone. The song concludes and the party begins to disperse. Gatsby taps on the glass.
Good night out there, old sport. I'll see you tomorrow, then.
No one swooned backward on Gatsby, though. And no French barb touched Gatsby's shoulder. No singing quartets were formed with Gatsby's head for one link. He alone was at his party.
Nick nods his head.
He was alone at his party. Sorry I stabbed that wrong. Good night, Mr. Gatsby.
Gatsby smiles.
He smiled, and suddenly there seemed to be a pleasant significance in having been among the last to go, as if he had desired it all along.
An automobile suddenly crashes into the front ditch as guests begin to pour out. Bunsen, Honeydew, and Beaker scream inside.
Beaker, a most noble experiment, but you need the steering wheel attached to drive the car.
Beaker holds up a car wheel. Nick trudges back to his cabin. Gonzo and Rizzo walk by his side. Rizzo looks at the destroyed book and sighs.
Nick, do you own a boat?
No, I'd tell you if I did. I'm one of the few honest people I know.
Did he mean to say that one out loud?
And scene. The next scene is in Valley of the Ashes in the afternoon. The eyes of the doctors again glare down from their billboard sign, judging whatever approaches next.
Look, here comes another high roller.
Someone tell him he needs to roll in something else. Whoa!
They all laugh together as Gatsby enters the frame, cycling a gold-plated bicycle with Nick sitting on a rear seat. Gonzo and Rizzo ride in bicycles behind them.
Was balancing himself with that resourcefulness of movement that is so peculiarly American. This quality was continually breaking through his punctilious manner in the shape of restlessness. He was never quite still. There was always a tapping foot somewhere, or the impatient opening and closing of a hand.
Look, old sport, what do you think of me anyhow?
Well, I don't quite know you well enough to have an opinion yet.
Gatsby scrunches his face.
Okay then. You just always take long pauses, like you're thinking.
Gonzo looks over at Rizzo, who shrugs and holds up the ripped book.
I'll tell you the God's truth about my life. I don't want you getting the wrong idea about me, old sport.
They pass Wilson's joke garage. Nick can see inside that Myrtle is fast asleep while George Bear practices stand-up.
I am the son of some very wealthy frogs, all gone now. I went to Oxford because that's where they all went. Then came the war, old sport. I won the medal for...
Gatsby drones on as Nick thinks.
At this point, I knew why Jordan had believed he was lying. He swallowed or choked in his words as though they bothered him. With this doubt, his whole statement fell to pieces, and I wondered if there wasn't something sinister about him, after all.
Anyway, that's when Daisy bought the rights and things have been leaning towards streaming, so we changed our marketing approach.
Nick stays silent as Gatsby slows them on their bike.
Would you like to see my old medal, old sport? Oh, I keep these things on me just in case anyone should ask.
Gatsby pulls out a diploma from Oxford, valor medal from the war, and various photos of his adventures across Europe.
It's all true. I thought...
That I was making it up? I'm going to ask something big of you today, old sport. So I thought you ought to know about me. You'll find all about it when you talk to Miss Baker.
How do you know I'm meeting Jordan? Wait. You're not in love with Miss Baker, are you?
No, old sport. My heart was wed to another long ago.
And see. Next, we're at the Queensboro Bridge. They cross over the Queensboro Bridge. Nick takes in the beauty of the city again, and then looks at Gatsby in an odd admiration. Cars line up behind them.
Nothing can happen now that we've slid over this bridge. Anything at all. Even Gatsby could happen.
The cars behind them honk, and drivers scream as the bike group moves at a breakneck speed of 5 miles per hour. And scene. Next, we're at a speakeasy in the late afternoon. Gatsby leads the boys down a steamy back alley and towards a large metal door. Gatsby does a secret knock, and a visor space slides open. Uncle Deadly's eyes glare down on him.
Password.
Phenomena.
Spell it.
Oh, for the love of... I'm Jay Gatsby.
A thick Hispanic accent breaks out from behind the door.
What is it you doing? Open the door. Is Gatsby here? Do you know him?
The door slides open, revealing Pepe the King Prawn, known here as Maya Wolf Prawn, in an impressive white suit.
Nick Carraway this is my dear friend, Senior Meyer Wolfprawn.
Nick shakes one of Maya Wolf Prawn's 4 hands. Rizzo looks through the torn book.
Oh, wait, I have this page.
What's Nick thinking?
Rizzo's eyes go wide.
Let's skip this one.
And see. Next, at the speakeasy. Muppets sing a jazzy cover of Mana Mana as Gatsby. As Gatsby puts an arm around Wolf Prawn and Nick, leading everyone inside.
Apologies for earlier, Mr. Gatsby. Your table is ready as always.
Everyone sits down. Wolf Prawn eyes Nick up and down and suddenly sniffs him.
Well, hola, Nicholas. Mr. Gatsby tells me you have some business you'd like to discuss.
No, Meyer, that's another man. Nick is here on other business for me.
I'm sorry. I still don't understand what's going on here.
I know. But you are asking, is he a wolf or is he prawn?
A long, unanswered pause. Meyer simply nods his head.
Listen, old sport. I know you must be terribly frustrated right now.
Gatsby smiles in an attempt to calm Nick.
There was the smile again. But this time I held out against it.
Nick sips his coffee as Gatsby's smile holds.
I don't like mysteries is all, and I don't understand why you won't come out, frankly, and tell me what you want. Why has it all got to come through Miss Baker?
A waitress walks over and taps Gatsby on the shoulder. We need a waitress.
Mr. Gatsby, Detroit on the phone.
Gatsby sighs.
Excuse me.
Gatsby awkwardly walks away, leaving the boys with Wolf Prawn. Wolf Prawn crosses his forearms, revealing cufflinks made of human molars.
Are you in the business of dentistry, Mr. Wolf Prawn?
I'm dentist? No.
But you have teeth on your suit.
Oh, he's not mine. So, do you know Mr. Gatsby long, yes?
I'm actually new to New York.
Ah, I know Gatsby long time, before he had anything in fact. He a good amigo, handsome, loyal, and a gentleman. Frog.
Before he had anything, Gatsby told me he came from a wealthy family.
Wolf Prawn pauses at this and suddenly jumps up.
I must go. I leave you young men to talk about your sports and young chicas. If I leave any left for you, that is.
Wolf Prawn lets out an absurd laugh, running off as Gatsby returns.
Gatsby? Who is he anyhow? An actor?
Technically. Oh, he's a gambler, old sport. He fixed the 1919 World Series.
I've heard about that.
Yeah, we read ahead in the book.
Did he get away with it?
By playing, of course. No rules against a four-armed pitcher.
Nick spots Tom across the room, laughing with a crowd of upper-crust pigs as they play billiards.
Tom? Hey, Tom!
Tom looks over and Gatsby has immediately booked it, flailing his arms in the air as he runs.
Tom, I'd like you to meet Mr.
But Nick looks over and Gatsby's gone. Jordan Baker, leaning on a golf club, stands in his place.
What are you on about, Nick? I've met Jordan before. Honestly, if that man were any more of a fool, he'd be a woman.
Uproarious laughter from the pigs. Tom is vindicated.
See? They like the joke.
Jordan grabs Nick's hand.
I feel Mr. Gatsby is overcomplicating things.
He does have a flair for the dramatic. I'd say it's rubbing off.
She leads him
He
up.
has a flair for what? Sorry.
I've got
Rubbing-
so much to tell.
And scene. Next, we're at the Times Square rooftop at night. Jordan sets down a golf ball on the rooftop.
Par!
She swings. And the next scene at Times Square. Bobo the bear sits in a much larger automobile now.
Oh, there we are, Mr. Bobo. An automobile that fits for any size bear.
Jordan's ball smashes the windshield, shattering its glass.
I don't have insurance.
And back on the rooftop, Camilla pushes another golf ball forward with her beak as Gonzo and Rizzo politely golf clap.
You know, I got accused of cheating at my last tournament. They said I moved my ball over before a putt.
Is this relevant to Mr. Gatsby or Mr. Wolf Prawn or any of this grand game you two seem to be playing?
It's relevant because I remember everything. I remember where my ball landed. I remember the sound of your second-rate shoes walking to Tom and Daisy's parlor. And I remember when I first saw Gatsby.
She hits another ball, and there is a prolonged yell below.
Why shouldn't you? From what I understand, Gatsby just started throwing parties this summer.
Camilla sets up another ball.
But I didn't meet Gatsby this year. We met 5 years ago, in 1917.
Camilla doesn't clear the way in time and is launched with the golf ball when Jordan swings again. She barks out, flying into Times Square.
I love.
Gonzo and Rizzo rush to a fire escape and hurry after her.
I met him in October of 1917 in Louisville at the home of young Miss Daisy Fay.
Nick looks genuinely stunned.
Daisy?
Jordan turns from him and looks out at the city lights. She sings a song called Can't Repeat the Past.
Long ago, there was a time when the future seemed unsure. Men marched and girls cried to a war that brought no cure. Looking back, it's silly remembering this time. The way we let it slip away sure feels like a crime.
Fade into flashback. At Daisy's home at night in Louisville, 1917. Men in World War I uniforms dance with beautiful girls at an outdoor Southern social for soldiers before deployment. Gatsby, dressed also in a soldier's uniform, looks out at a long-haired Miss Daisy fanning herself on the steps of her home.
But you can't repeat the past, you can't repeat the past. Best to leave it only in our memory, else let it become our enemy.
For Gatsby and Daisy, this is love at first sight. A younger Jordan, surrounded by her own suitors, watches Gatsby as he moves towards Miss Daisy. Daisy lowers her fan and Gatsby offers her his hand.
You can't repeat the past, you can't repeat what's gone. Wish it well and leave those dreams alone.
Miss Daisy accepts Gatsby's hand. Fade back to the Times Square rooftop. Jordan hides her face as tears drip down her cheeks. Nick keeps his distance, but can't look away from her.
Daisy's family was holding a social for the soldiers headed off to war, and Gatsby was among them. He looked at Daisy in a way that every young girl wants to be looked at. I told you I remember everything, and I can promise you I'll never forget the way he looked at her. It was more than love, it was destiny.
What happened?
Jordan blinks away her tears.
Well, Gatsby went to war. And something kept him away after the fighting passed. Something kept him from her.
Fade into flashback. Beauty mirror. Tom Buchanan gets down on one knee, offering Daisy a magnificent diamond.
A year went by and Daisy Fay was engaged to Tom Buchanan with more pomp and circumstance than Louisville had ever seen.
Tom wraps an enormous string of pearls around Daisy's neck.
The day before the wedding, he gave her a string of pearls valued at $350,000.
Next, we're in Daisy's hotel room in the morning. Miss Daisy sits in a wedding dress, reading a letter stained with her tears.
That wasn't the only thing Daisy received that night. I came into her room an hour before rehearsal, and I found her sobbing over a letter. The letter was from Gatsby.
Miss Daisy screams and karate chops the pearls from her neck, scattering them across the floor.
What was in the letter?
Jordan, dressed as a bridesmaid, runs over and attempts to calm Miss Daisy.
I don't know, but it was enough for Daisy to change her mind.
The preacher marrying Tom and Daisy walks in, and she immediately karate chops him.
Not enough to keep it changed, apparently.
Next, we are in a hotel bathroom in the morning, and Miss Daisy shakes in the tub as Jordan and the other bridesmaids collect her pearls and sew them back together. Miss Daisy's mother paces back and forth, berating her. Jordan begins singing again.
When we move on to the future, the past begins to shine. There's hope in the heart that can make it smile.
Now we're in the chapel in the afternoon. Miss Daisy looks dazed as Tom says his vows. Photography blobs flash, drawing forced smiles from her.
But the longer days go, the farther those moments become. Bringing them back now just makes me feel glum.
With each forced smile, Miss Daisy gets better and better at making them pass for genuine joy until it appears that they really are genuine, loving smiles. Flash, a still B&W photo, a black and white photo of Tom and Daisy's wedding. Fade back to the Times Square rooftop at night.
You can't repeat the past, you can't repeat the past. You think you have it, then it leaves your grasp. Best to leave it be, best to follow through. You can't repeat the past if you want to keep me.
Nick is closer to Jordan now. He hands her a handkerchief and she wipes tears from her eyes.
A strange coincidence, Gatsby buying that house right across the bay from her.
It's not a coincidence at all.
Nick realizes. He looks up to the stars dim in the city sky.
He wants to know if you'll have Daisy to your house some afternoon and let him come over. You see, he went through all of this because he's afraid. He's afraid he waited too long. He thought you might be offended. He's a regular tough under it all.
The modesty of the demand shook me. He had waited 5 years and bought a mansion where he dispensed starlight to casual moths so that he could come over some afternoon to Stranger's Garden.
I think he half expected her to wander into one of his parties some night, but she never did. Then he began asking people casually if they knew her, and I was the first one he found. Of course, I immediately brought up that you were her cousin and that he had to meet you. He had to see you, Nick, so that he can see Daisy.
Suddenly, I wasn't thinking of Daisy and Gatsby anymore, but of this clean, hard, limited person who dealt in universal skepticism and who leaned back jauntily just within the circle of my arm. A phrase began to beat in my ears.
Nick says this next line out loud.
There are only the pursued, the pursuing, the busy, and the tired.
What's that?
Just something I was thinking
About Mr. Gatsby?
about you.
Unlike Gatsby and Tom, I had no girl whose disembodied face floated along the dark cornices and blinding signs, and so I drew up this girl beside me. Her scornful mouth smiled up.
Nick leans and touches Jordan's face.
So, Nick Carraway, you'll do it then? For Mr. Gatsby?
Nick kisses her and she kisses back, passion breaking through her usually cold exterior. Gonzo and Rizzo climb back up the fire escape with Camilla. They all snack on pizza slices.
Guys, we found Camilla along with a great pizza place that...
They see the lovers embraced in the electric New York glow.
Ugh, a romance scene.
fits. The movie is a love story.
It's not too late to stop this.
And scene. Next.
Intermission.
Yeah, I think so. Or maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's enough for one night.
Or maybe call it a night. What do
It
people
was-
feel like?
It was 1.5 hours now.
Yeah.
And I think we will probably take another 1.5 hours.
Yeah, we are 54 pages into the 104 page.
Yeah.
So we're halfway.
This is
About
yeah.
halfway, but that's
Do we want to do it as another Sunday standalone?
Yeah, I think.
I would love to do another session and join in. Like, I have my last day of work on Tuesday, and so next time I could join in. I would love to do like the standalone little voices. If
Excellent.
nobody else does them, or some of them. So yeah, and I'm gonna do a round now. Gonna poke some people with the needle, and then I'm gonna go to bed, hopefully, and I shall see you guys soon.
I'm gonna go and join in the family.
Journey.
Oh, do we want to say bye to the catch-up crew? I can stop the recording.
Yes.
Yes.
Bye,
Yes.
catch up crew.
Bye.
Catch up crew.
We love you.
Stay tuned for the next time.